We've got the first question coming in from Vinny, and oh no, sorry, she's saying, this is Dikshita, and she's asking about universal cables and whether it can be averaged at the current price. I do not know what level she's bought at, Kunal, but she's asking whether it is a good time to buy the stock.
I would suggest an avoid. I think the stock has not done much over the last 1.5 years. So from December 2020 highs, I think around 200 to 25 for universal cables. The stock has been into a listless downward trend. I would say a sluggish trend for itself. Even the volumes have dropped down significantly for the stock. It was one of the highly traded counters, I think, in 2017-18. But post that, the volumes have dropped down, the trends have abated. Would not suggest an averaging opportunity. In fact, if you get any kind of a rally, say closer to 155, 160 kind of levels, good point where you can look to exit.
Okay, this one is coming from Santi Chedela, and this is on the power sector as such. So I will read the query as is, and this one will be for you, Vikas. Asking about coal availability, saying that the market is expecting the coal availability worsening by September 2022 worldwide. So in such a case, how would the impact be on power stocks like Tata Power, JSW Energy, Adani Power and Coal India? Santi has been holding all of these in the portfolio and making profit about 20 to 100% in some of them. So what should be the strategy for someone who's already holding these counters? Stay put with them or look to book profits?
Sorry, as far as our sector is concerned, though I do not feel the situation of coal would be worsening from here on. I feel things would improve into the coming months. And so I remain bullish on all these power stocks. They've also corrected from their recent highs and they're doing exceedingly well. All of them, like say Tata Power or Adani Power or JSW Energy, they've done well. They've created substantial returns for investors, and I think they would continue to do so. So I'm bullish on these stocks and would maintain a hold on all of them.
We've got a question coming in from Manikandan, and I must point out that I took this query yesterday, but I did not read the strike that he mentioned. He's talking about Zydus Life, and he's got a June series expiry, and he's got a strike of 380. This is a 380 call. What should his strategy be? Should he hold to expiry, Kunal?
Well, I believe, I think it's going to be a bit of a touch and go because, the stock is a low beta name. Pharma stock's not doing pretty well. Zydus Life has given breakout on the long-term charts, but I'm not sure that whether that, would probably indicate that the stock would move up swiftly on a very short-term time scale. So the only concern with respect to the timing of the stock, so positionally, I'm bullish on the stock, and probably you can expect even the stock going to 420, 440 levels. But it's just that the concern is with respect to the June expiry which you're having. I would suggest that it's better to try and hedge the call option. If you've already bought at say 10, 11 rupees the call option, then you can look to maybe hedge at 420 odd strike for this same, and assuming if the stock goes up higher, crosses that 400 mark, is where you can remove this 420 call and let the 400 call or 380 call stay open for Zydus Life.
Okay, this one is from Mukhil. He's writing to us from Bangalore, and he has Genus Powers, about 3,000 shares, purchased at 102 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should continue to hold on to it, and wants to know how long will it take for the stock to reach his buying price. So, Kunal, do you track this one? Genus Power, 3,000 shares, 102 is the buy price.
So I do track the stock. Interesting mid-cap name. Again, a stock which has done reasonably well. So many of these power stocks had done reasonably well in the second half of 2021 and the in fact the first couple of months of 2022 as well. Same was the case with Genus Power. The stock had made a high of 113.14. Now it's come back towards 88.90 kind of levels for itself. So it's a stock which is now getting into a consolidation. I would suggest a hold on, not to average at current zone, but possibly the trend improves for many of these power stocks. Even Genus Power can come back about the 110.13 mark. So I would suggest a hold, and possibly a breakout about the 113 mark should be possible over the next couple of months at least.
Okay. The next question is coming in from Aviral. He's asking about ITC. Vikas, he's bought at levels of 220. He's holding an and that's the average price. He's holding as much as 7,200 shares. And if I remember correctly, for the Q4, you had the hotel business that did reasonably well. You had the cigarette business that saw revenues grow about 10%. Is it looking good to hold for the long term? And would you suggest adding to his position?
Yeah, Alex, as far as ITC is concerned, I remain bullish on the stock. The investor needs to be complimented for having bought this stock at good levels. He's sitting on some good substantial profits. And from here on also, I see good prospects for ITC. Most of its businesses are doing well. The quarterly results which it reported recently were also pretty impressive. And there are talks that in the times to come, the company might demerge some of its businesses to unlock value, which would be pretty positive for this stock. So for long term or medium term, this stock should be held on to.
All right, so that's the view coming in on ITC on the medium to long term. Mr. Bhandari wants a technical view on Cipla, Kunal.
So interesting short-term charts. In fact, a couple of days back, the stock had formed an inverted head and shoulder pattern on the hourly charts. The breakout of this pattern is around 980, 982. It's been fluctuating around this 980 odd mark. So I would expect that maybe over the next couple of days, if this 980 support gets hold up, then I believe Cipla can move up higher to almost 1020, 1040. So you can look to buy the stock short-term wise. 1020, 40 could be an immediate target for the stock.
Okay, we've got a question coming from Avijit, and I'm hoping, Vikas, that you have a view on the fundamentals of AGI Infra. He's bought AGI Infra at levels of 306, he says. The share is currently trading at around 300. What are the fundamental views on this one? He's aiming to hold this for the long term.
Sorry, Alex, I did not track the stock. Could not be able to.
Okay, then I'm going to request at least a technical view, if it's possible. Kunal, do you have a view on the charts?
So nothing interesting about the charts. Average volumes, I think 45,000 is the average volumes for the stock on a daily basis. It's reeling below its 200-day moving average, trading at I think around 235, 236 at current level. So nothing major in terms of a chart patterns which I can observe. So I would probably suggest that you can look to avoid the space, and in case if you've already bought, then wait out for a bounce till the 200-day moving average. That would mean a retracement or a bounce gets completed. That's a good zone where you can look to exit.
Okay, I'm just going to take a chance because the second stock that he'd looked for on the fundamentals, since he's asking this question, Accuracy Shipping. Do you have a view on that? No? Okay, fine. We'll go to the next question then.
Okay, this one is from Vikas Negi and Vikas Sethi. This one is for you. He wants to know whether he can do SIP in Nykaa shares for the long term. Do you think that makes sense?
Yeah, I like this stock. After the correction we have recently witnessed, it's a good quality company having a good business model. It's one of the leading portals or leading platforms for beauty and healthcare products. And the stock has seen decent correction. So at the current levels, which is not very far off from the IPO price which they came out with. So I think one could start doing an SIP. I remain bullish on the stock if one has a 3 to 5 years perspective.
Pratibha is asking about Sun Pharma, which she's bought at levels of 592. And this question is for you, Kunal. On the charts, she's asking whether to hold at this point.
So I think it's an exceptional buy price which you have sub 600 for Sun Pharma. The short-term charts are indicating weakness for this stock. So when I look at it from the for the next 3 to 4 weeks, there is a possibility that Sun Pharma can drag below the 800 mark as well. So if you want to look at it from a short-term play, you can look to book out profits at current levels of 840, 850, and then buy it back sub the 800 mark. But if you're a longer-term investor, which I'm sensing you are because of the buy price which you have on a lower on a much lower scale, I would still suggest a hold. I would expect the stock to come back towards 1,000, say possibly over the next 2 to 6 months. And then Sun Pharma has also been one of the more leader stocks from the entire pharma pack. It's been a very strong outperformer in that pack. So whenever the pharma index gets into a recovery, Sun Pharma should probably lead the charge again from the front.
Okay, this one is from Rancho Gupta, and this one is for you, Kunal. Canara Bank 210 call option at current market price. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it looks attractive. In fact, on the banking side, many of these PSU banking names are actually showing signs of a breakout. I showcased the PSU banking index on the chart busters as well today, forming a triple bottom pattern. So looks very attractive, and I think 210 could be a good strike for Canara Bank.
Okay, a lot of short-term queries. I'm going to take this one as well. Ambika Cotton Mills is the name of the counter, Kunal, and we've got Murli from Palakkad, Kerala, and he's bought as much as 100 shares at a price of 1,913. So he's losing a little ground. What should his strategy be? He's got a 3-month time frame.
So I think you can hold on to your holdings at least as of now. I would not suggest an add or an average at current levels because of the fact that the 50-day moving average has started to slope significantly down for Ambika Cotton. So I would expect that the stock would get into a rally phase, maybe 2000, 2050 odd levels, but then it would face a lot of pressure from those downward sloping averages. So I would suggest a sell if the stock reaches the 2000, 2050 mark.
Okay, this one is from Natarajan Ramesh, and this one is for you, Vikas, and he's asking whether it's advisable to buy Polyplex at current market price for a time horizon of 2 years, and if not, then which other stock in the similar segment should he look at?
No, Sharil, it's a great company. It's one of the very few companies which keeps paying dividend every quarter. And the recent results also were excellent. The company is doing exceedingly well. I remain bullish on the stock, and if one has a long-term horizon, one should be looking to buy into the stock. So he's selected a good stock to buy for long-term.
Vikas as well as Kunal, do stay with us. We have to slip into a very quick break, and all the viewers that are tuned in at this juncture, please hold on. We've got all of your questions, and if you've got questions, then prepare them, because we'll be taking queries after the break as well. Do stay tuned.
You are a very seasoned market observer, and therefore you may hit the nail on the head.
I think you have always kept the focus on the retail investor, and I think it's again a very apt, very good question.
Nikunj, first of all, thank you so much. You are one person I've always enjoyed interacting throughout last 15-20 years.
The problem on coming on your channel is that you already know everything. I just heard your introduction. And what can anybody add to that?
Stock markets is a numbers game, and it sometimes does come across as one-dimensional. But what people don't see is that these numbers, when strung together, tell a story. There's no really black or white. It very much seems to be a work in progress of triumphs and mistakes, greed and fear. And I bring you that story behind the numbers in action.
The personal finance show that helps you achieve all your financial dreams.
This show gets you everything that you need to know about your money, how to earn more, invest smartly, and spend while getting the best bang for your buck.
From the perfect home to early retirement and everything in between.
Real estate, everyone knows, is an asset that Indians absolutely love, maybe even more than gold.
Join us every weekday at 5 p.m. on the ET Money Show. Investment made easy, only on ET Now.
With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
But if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge.
See, Nikunj, you're a very seasoned market observer, and therefore you may hit the nail on the head.
I think you have always kept the focus on the retail investor, and I think it's again a very apt, very good question.
Nikunj, first of all, thank you so much. You are one person I've always enjoyed interacting throughout last 15-20 years.
You know, the problem on coming on your channel is that you already know everything. I just heard your introduction. And what can anybody add to that?
Stock markets is a numbers game, and it sometimes does come across as one-dimensional. But what people don't see is that these numbers, when strung together, tell a story. There's no really black or white. It very much seems to be a work in progress of triumphs and mistakes, greed and fear. And I bring you that story behind the numbers in action.
The personal finance show that helps you achieve all your financial dreams.
This show gets you everything that you need to know about your money, how to earn more, invest smart.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and we will continue with your queries right away. And let me take this one. It's coming in from Sakat Santosh Kumar, and he wants to buy Barbecue Nation at current market price for the next 1 year. He wants a view on technicals. What's your take on this one, Kunal?
I think it's a very good chart. Even though it's been reeling below its long-term averages, I think the price correction seems to be getting into an end zone for itself. From 1800, the stock has corrected 50% to 900. Now it's at, I think, 990, 980 levels for itself. So price-wise, very attractive zone where you can look to buy, provided you have a time horizon of at least 12 to 18 months. You can look at an upside potential of at least 1300 to 1400, which should be decent enough for a stock like Barbecue.
You know, we spoke about auto just a short while back, but Vikas, this is specifically on a tyre company, CEAT. We've got Bharti Dave, who's writing in from Gandhinagar, and she's asking about CEAT, which has been bought at levels of 1355, and she's planning to hold for the long term. She's asking if she should hold an average at this price.
Alex, CEAT is concerned. This is not the best stock to own from the tyre sector. And as it is, I think one should be looking at the other auto component companies if one were to ride the good times which we expect in the auto sector. I think auto component companies should be looked at. So I would advise the investor to exit, although at a loss, in CEAT and look to buy some auto component company, and preferably companies which are catering to the electric vehicle segment.
This one is coming in from Harish Kumar, and Harish has written to us from Bangalore, and he's saying that he's holding ICICI Bank, about 100 shares, which he's purchased at 680 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he can book profits or wait, and he's basically asking this in light of what's going to happen with regards to the interest rate cycle. Vikas, I'll come to you on this one. What's your take on ICICI Bank? What should he do with his holding? 100 shares, 680 is the buy price, but he wants to know, does it make sense to stay put given the way how the interest rate cycle is going to go on from here on?
Now, bullish on the entire banking sector, and from within the sector, ICICI Bank looks to be the best bet. And he has bought it at a good price, sitting on good profits, and I would still maintain him or advise him to hold the stock despite the fact that it's now ruling at around 750 odd rupees. But I think we could see substantial upside from here on. So I would maintain a hold at the current levels.
We've got a question coming from Denny. Denny is writing in from the UK. He's bought Lupin at levels of 623. And by the way, Denny, thanks for waking up so early for the show. And he's looking to hold for the short term, Kunal.
Well, I think Lupin has been a big underperformer. So what you're trying to bet is from the weakest of the weakest sectors, you're trying to bet on one of the weaker stocks to get into a turnaround mode. Now, that will be too much to ask for. A better strategy, because in a market where you are expecting that this rally could be more short-lived, it's to bet with sectors and stocks which are more in momentum. So I would suggest an avoid on Lupin. If you've bought at 620 odd levels, wait out for the stock to bounce back to your cost price. Exit, shift to a momentum sector. I think something from the auto pack like M&M looks very attractive even at current levels, and possibly another 10 to 15% upside could be seen potentially into this name as well.
All right, this next one that I have is from Snehashish Gupta and wants to know about Tata Motors. He's already purchased 100 shares at the price of 447 rupees per share. He wants a view for the next 6 months, but he's saying he can hold on for the next 2 years as well. So Kunal, 6 months or 2 years, Tata Motors, a stock that should be in your portfolio?
Absolutely, yes. Undoubtedly, I think Tata Motors is getting into a turnaround mode. We've seen the stock doing exceptionally well from those 65, 70 levels in 2020 lows. From there, the stock has done phenomenally well. It's still not broken the all-time high levels of 598, I think 598 or 600, which means that the stock has to do that extra hard work to try and break past about those levels. My sense is possibly over the next couple of years, you could see the stock getting into the thick of momentum and even breaking past about the 600 mark. I would definitely suggest a hold.
Okay, we've got Harry from Chandigarh, who's bought 1,000 shares of GMR Infra at levels of 37.5. Because he's asking when he can expect a profit from this.
It's a volatile stock. It's also present in the FNO segment. That is the reason why it's so volatile compared to other infra stocks. I'm bullish on the sector, but this is not my preferred choice. But then, since he's bought into it, I think he can certainly get profits out of it. I think this stock will also give you some return over the next, say, few months. But my choice from the infra sector would be something like a KNR Construction or a PNC Infra or a GR Infra. These are the kind of stocks which one should look to buy into or remain invested in if one has a long-term point of view.
This one is from Dasaradi from Vijayawada, and he's asking about TV18 shares, 200 shares that he's purchased at 77 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he can average or exit. What's your take on this one, Kunal?
I think Alex already knows the answer, but I'll repeat it again. I think it's a sell. I don't believe that the stock can resurrect or get into a rally mode, at least over the near term. In fact, the last 1 month back, when the stock had this negative news flow, you had seen a very sharp downtick on TV18 broadcast, and that should play into effect at least for the next 3 to 6 months. So I'm expecting more correction over the near to medium term.
Okay, I'm coming back to you on this next one. Nalco is the name of the counter. Metal stocks have been under a little bit of pressure over the last month or so. But would you say that it can be held for less than a year? She's bought, sorry, I should mention the name, Neha, has bought at levels of 120.
So I think the metal stocks are getting into a lot of news flow and chop and churn in terms of events. So globally, you've seen the metal prices taking a bit of a beating. Dollar index is also one of the other major correlated asset class with respect to the metal index, and these factors are not playing to the advantage of the metal names, and which is why you've seen the correction, and of course the local news flow as well, which happened on the metal stocks few weeks back. So all of these are playing short-term negative. My sense is that the stock prices don't go into a major correction mode. So, for example, if Nalco continues to consolidate at this 90-odd mark, that could be taken as a good indication that the stock is consolidating and probably getting ready for a breakout whenever the stock price or the cycle for the metal names reverses on the upside. I would suggest a hold on Nalco as well as on the other metal names as well.
Okay, this one is from Mahendra Patnaik, and he's saying that he has 3,000 shares of PNB, which he's purchased at 32 rupees per share. He's holding it since a year, and he also has 100 shares of Canara Bank, which he's entered recently at the price of 192. Now he wants to know whether he should move from PNB to Canara Bank. He's also mentioned that he also has other banks in his portfolio like SBI, ICICI and HDFC Bank. Kunal, do you think it's the right strategy from moving from PNB to Canara Bank? He has PNB, the buy price is 32 and Canara is 192.
See, I think it's going to be an excellent strategy, but I would also suggest that if you're looking to buy from the PSU basket, you can look to add on to other names. I think there are two stocks which we don't discuss that often from the PSU banking name, but they're also looking very promising. One of them is Bank of Baroda at I think 100 levels or 101 levels in terms of futures, and probably 105.6 on the spot levels. Looks very attractive. And the other name is Indian Bank. Even that stock is looking attractive. It's been doing steadily well in the last 6 to 12 months. I think at 150 plus 168 levels currently. Indian Bank also looks attractive. So you can probably make that switch additionally and allocate funds towards 3 of these names from the PSU pack.
Okay, it's time to hit the rapid fire segment, and Vikas and Kunal are both familiar with this, so I'm going to just get started. Kunal, I'm going to combine a couple of questions. Prabha and Subahan want to know about the Nifty and the Nifty Bank in the very short term.
Expecting the Nifty to hit 16,800 to 17,000, and possibly Bank Nifty would be the outperforming sector over here. So bullish on both these indices, and these minor dips or corrections should be taken as a good contra buy.
Okay, this one is from Mr. KR Balan, and this one is for you, Vikas. He's intending to buy Infosys or TCS at current market price, but he wants to switch out from Sun Pharma and Colgate-Palmolive. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I think it does make sense. Both the Infosys and TCS are available at pretty good price, good valuation. So I would recommend a buy on both these.
Kunal, any recommendations from the fertilizer pack that you can pick up right now?
So Coromandel Fertilizer, the stock which looks attractive, and I think if you want to bet on a slightly mid-cap name, then even RCF also looks attractive at 90 plus.
Okay, Nachi wants to know, NIIT Tech, does it make sense to buy for the longer term? At what levels? Kunal.
So I think NIIT Tech is Coforge. Again, mid-cap IT names also gone through a correction. I would suggest a buy on dips strategy. You can start at current levels, and probably another 10% lower is where you can hit to average.
Unlikely to have a view, but Sai Capital, do you have a view at all, Kunal? This is a BSE listed counter, I believe. We've got Kotabuddin who's writing in, and he's bought at levels of 217.
Apologies, don't track the stock.
Okay, Amrit wants to know about MCX. He's bought at the level of 1700 rupees per share. Medium term view, how does it look, Vikas?
Now, hold at the correct. The stock is corrected, but I feel there'll be better times ahead for all these platform stocks.
Darshan Patel is bought IEX at levels of 202. Should he hold on, Vikas?
Certainly a hold. Again, the same logic applies. I'm bullish on the platform stocks. They've corrected also. So at the current levels, one should hold.
Okay, this one is from Manoj Kumar, Info Edge. He already has 25 shares purchased at 4,753. What's your view on the long term, Vikas?
No, again, Naukri also would be a hold, although he's bought it at a pretty high price and sitting on losses. But I think from here on, it should see some upside, so it's a hold again.
All right, unfortunately, we're at the end of this very interesting query segment, I must say. Thank you so much, Vikas, as well as Kunal, for taking the time and for answering all the viewer queries. And for all of you who've tuned in and who haven't had your query answered today, we'll be back tomorrow to take more queries. So don't lose heart and have a little patience with us. We do try and take as many as possible. We have to slip into a short break, but there's more on the other side, so do stay tuned.
The personal financial
and spend while getting the best bang for your buck.
From the perfect home to early retirement and everything in between.
Real estate, everyone knows, is an asset that Indians absolutely love, maybe even more than gold.
Join us every weekday at 5 p.m. on the ET Money Show. Investment made easy. Only on ET Now.
With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first, sab saath bade. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you're asking, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
And if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge.
See, Nikunj, you're a very seasoned market observer, and therefore you may hit the nail on the head.
I think you have always kept the focus on the retail investor, and I think it's again a very apt, very good question.
Nikunj, first of all, thank you so much. You are one person I've always enjoyed interacting throughout last 15-20 years.
You know, the problem on coming on your channel is that you already know everything. I just heard your introduction. And what can anybody add to that?
Stock markets is a numbers game, and it sometimes does come across as one-dimensional. But what people don't see is that these numbers, when strung together, tell a story. There's no really black or
Welcome back. The auto sector is in focus. Maruti Suzuki, in fact, has had a decent run in the month of May, and in fact, in that month, it had its highest exports ever. We're wondering whether there's still some impact of the semiconductor issues that have plagued the sector as a whole. So let's check with the management how things are panning out. We're joined by Shashank Srivastav, who is the Senior Executive Director, Marketing and Sales at Maruti Suzuki. Thanks so much, Shashank, for taking the time. The May sales were certainly positive. What's the visibility in the near term, though? In June, can you expect a further improvement from what you saw in May?